Um, Hello, everyone. My name is Cassandra Salazar. I work at SHPE as a manager on the research and innovation team. And I work with a lot of our initiatives with our Latino faculty. And in the past, we've had some different events. We've done some panels with NSF. Our largest event that we have for faculty is our Faculty Development Symposium, which happens in person during convention, and this year it will be held on November 2nd. So keep a lookout on that. The registration is not open yet, but that's our most popular event, and we really encourage all of you to attend. This year we are trying something new. We've had a really big ask for more events, and we've had a lot of success. So we are now moving into doing year-round faculty development. And so we just had a couple dean's panels. We have this agency panel. This summer, we will be having an event with a few different directorates from NSF. And then, like I said, in the fall, we'll be having our faculty development symposium. I do encourage you all to watch out later in the chat. We will be having a link where you can sign up to be invited to all of our faculty events and be on our mailing list. And we will go ahead and get started. I first want to introduce you all to Mariana. She is our amazing Senior Associate of Government Relations, and she will be sharing a little bit more about her role at SHPE and SHPE's involvement with agencies. So I will go ahead, Mariana, and pin you for everyone to see you.
Awesome. Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning, wherever you are on the West Coast. Thank you so much again for your time with us today. I am Mariana Cunha Delgado, lead of the Government Relations Department at SHPE. In my time in the organization, I have focused on building new relationships with agency offices, members of the Biden-Harris administration, and congressional members representing Hispanic heritage or significant Hispanic constituency to share about who SHPE is, what we do, and the best practices that allow us to remove barriers for those that we serve while paving the way for future generations of Hispanics in STEM. Our efforts have contributed significantly and with valuable insights to advancing and prioritizing K-12 STEM education access, college readiness, private and public partnerships, and fostering a sense of belonging within the industry. Grounded in local evidence-based research, our initiatives have provided indispensable data in shaping strategic decision-making for the Hispanic community. We've done these through meetings and letters to the government, advocating for federal programs that align with our mission and positively impact and promote a sustainable and inclusive pipeline of all and emerging STEM disciplines. In less than a year, SHPE has made significant strides, most recently by hosting a briefing at the White House with 50 of its members, including members of our Academic Partnership Council and Industry Partnership Council, to speak about 3 topics. One was K-12 STEM early exposure and engaging Hispanic parents as an integral part of their STEM journey. And that was hosted with the Department of Education. The second one was increasing allyship and improving gender equity in the STEM industry. And that was with representatives of the White House Hispanic Initiative. And the third session was advancing workforce development opportunities in federal resources. And that was with NASA and OSTB. My goal is to ensure that SHPE can be a resource to you and those seeking a better understanding of our holistic approaches to shaping STEM education and workforce development opportunities for the Hispanic community. I hope you consider us as a partner to your mission and welcome all in-person opportunities to promote the work that we do and you do as well. So it's very nice to meet you. And again, thank you so much for joining today.
Oops, I was muted. So we can go ahead and get started. Mariana, thank you for sharing your insight and for all the work that you do. I'm so excited now that we have this position at SHPE and that you're able to really take us to the next step. So thank you. So we will go ahead and start with our presentations. We have DOE up first. So I will go ahead and let Michael introduce himself. And you are good to go, Michael.
Well, thank you very much for the invitation to engage with you and your community. I am Michael Cook, a senior technical advisor in the Department of Energy's Office of Science, and I'm in the Office of the Deputy Director for Science Programs. So we are one piece of the Department of Energy, which has a broader program than I'll speak to, but I'll focus on what we have in the Office of Science and ways that you can get engaged in the Office of Science research portfolio. So I'd like to start with the fact that we are a mission-driven agency, and fundamental science is a big part of that mission. So we aim for discovery science that helps deliver the innovation that helps ensure America's prosperity and competitiveness in all of these challenging endeavors in energy, environment, and national security. How do we accomplish that? We do that through great people. We want to foster you, your great minds, your students, get their great ideas and help that lead to breakthroughs that address those challenges. So we support many disciplines, we support laboratories, we have a national laboratory system, we support other research institutions, and so broadly reaching out and bringing people in to help us address these challenges is a very important part of us achieving our mission. And we also provide you with the tools you need to be successful. So you'll see we steward a number of scientific user facilities that help enable that world-leading research in physics, material science, chemistry, genomics, and much more. So I'll go into a bit more detail and look forward to engaging in the breakout session as well for detailed questions. So you see our mission, it really is to deliver scientific discoveries that help advance the overall Department of Energy's missions. We support over 29,000 researchers at more than 300 institutions and 17 national laboratories across the United States. We're a steward of 10 of the 17, and we support more than 37,000 users at our scientific user facilities. And the fiscal year 23 funding we have to accomplish all of this is just over $8 billion. So I'll touch on all of these points in a bit more detail, starting with our national laboratories. The 17 national laboratories comprise this wonderful federal research ecosystem that we think provides the nation with important strategic, scientific, and technological capabilities. We steward 10 of them, and we think we're supporting capabilities there that help enable our mission, not just for the researchers at the laboratories, but the people that they can collaborate with and engage with. Part of what they and other institutions do is host our scientific user facilities. These are open to all interested potential users, regardless of nationality or institutional affiliation, even if they're hosted at one of our laboratories. And each facility manages allocation of the time and the resources they have based on a merit-based peer review of proposals. We don't charge user fees if the aim is to do non-proprietary work that you plan to publish as research results in open literature. If you're interested in full cost recovery work, however, for proprietary research, that's also available at our facilities. They do really offer unique opportunities for advancing science. Here is a very high-level overview of what they are. They span all of the different programs we have in the Office of Science, and there's 28 different facilities, as I mentioned, serving over 37,000 users, enabling things from computing to understanding the properties of plasmas toward developing fusion as an energy source for the future, to colliders that help us understand how the pieces of matter work at their smallest and most fundamental level. We support a broad portfolio in the physical sciences and are the largest funder of the physical sciences in the United States. I'll go over this portfolio at a very high level here, and once again, encourage any detailed questions to follow up in the breakout or Q&A. Our Advanced Scientific Research program delivers world-leading computational capabilities, including having the first exascale computer available for scientific use. Basic Energy Sciences aims to understand, predict, and ultimately control matter at the atomic and molecular levels, while Biological Environmental Research looks at complicated biological systems from ecosystem level up to the entire Earth system. Fusion Energy Sciences is aiming to build the foundations for fusion energy as a source of power. High energy physics is understanding how the universe works at its most fundamental level, not just at colliders, but even looking into the cosmos for understanding how the cosmos works and the largest scales as well. While nuclear physics focuses on discovering, exploring, and understanding all forms of nuclear matter. We also have R&D programs in technology. So the isotope R&D and production program supports national needs in isotope production and distribution, filling needs that are not commercially available. And the accelerator R&D and production supports developing new technologies for our scientific facilities, but also commercial products. There are a few cross-cutting initiatives I'd like to highlight here, and we're happy to touch on more of our cross-cutting initiatives in the breakout session. The FAIR initiative aims to build research capacity, infrastructure, and expertise at institutions that were historically underrepresented in our portfolio. That includes minority-serving institutions and emerging research institutions. The aim here is to build that infrastructure and capacity, build relationships between the laboratories or user facilities and these institutions, and complement some of the other opportunities we have at individual training levels. We'll provide support for PIs or teams to perform basic research in all of the fields we support that I described on the last slide. And the aim is to have a lot of these funds go to these underrepresented institutions in our portfolio, while also connecting them with their partners. A complement to this is our Renew program, or Reaching a New Energy Sciences Workforce. The aim here is to build foundations for the students, undergraduate and graduates, giving them the training opportunities so that institutions with historically underrepresented groups in our portfolio can get better engaged. This is a combination of years worth of engagement. We conducted a lot of outreach and listening sessions a few years ago to understand the barriers that exist from connecting in with our science opportunities. In fiscal year 22, we piloted models that tried to directly address those barriers and support people and broaden that participation in our research program. And now we're looking to expand to those efforts, including graduate fellowships and more, to help advance our diversity, equity, and inclusion goals. We also have a lot of opportunities to aid in workforce development for teachers and scientists through programs that connect people to our laboratories. So there's undergraduate focused internships available, community college internships. We have a visiting faculty program and a graduate student research program. So all of these involve in some way connecting people to our laboratories so that we can build a better engagement within our research ecosystem. And all of them have different opportunities, some during the summer, some during fall and spring semesters. And I encourage you to check our website for more information. And we'll also have experts from our WDTS office in our breakout session to provide a lot more information. I'd like to advertise it's also the Year of Open Science. So this is a government-wide effort. Many different agencies are engaged in it, including the Department of Energy. And so we offer a few things that help with open science already that you may be able to make use of. Perhaps that helps you engage in your current research, but also builds bridges into engaging with us. First, we have website about persistent identifiers and the many benefits of them and the services we offer in order to help make sure that all of your research products and results are findable by others and credit is going where it's due. We also are highlighting our public reusable research data resources or pure data resources, which offer a lot of helpful resources for specific scientific domains across the Office of Science portfolio. If you'd like more information, please consider signing up for email messages from us. If you go to our website, science.osti.gov, you'll see Stay Connected right at the top. You can sign up for any topics of interest from our funding opportunities to meetings and information about specific scientific topics or news from our program offices. So please consider doing that. There's a wealth of information for anyone looking to engage with us. So once again, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Michael, and the rest of the Department of Energy. So I want to go ahead and open up. Like I said, we'll be having breakout rooms where you can have more in-depth conversations. But we do have 5 minutes after each presentation for you to ask questions. So if you want to write it in the chat, you can do that, or you can raise your hand and we can call on you. So I'll go ahead and wait to see if anyone has any questions. Okay, so it looks like Cody has a question. Cody, you can go ahead and ask.
Yeah, thank you, Cassandra. So I'm interested, I saw the fair was restricted to non-R1 MSIs. How about the Renew? Is that R1 as well as non-R1 MSIs?
So our Renew program had a separate call for each of our program offices in the past fiscal year. And each of those actually had different eligibility requirements. The main focus overall was to better engage with the institutions that were historically underrepresented in our portfolio, but not all of them were restricted to non-R1 in the past iteration. We're looking to bring them together so it's easier to find the funding opportunity in the future, and might also align some of those requirements for application. So please do keep an eye on, read carefully any future solicitation on the Renew program. You can see all the past ones if you visit our website. You can look for closed funding opportunities and see how those varied across the programs.
Perfect, thank you.
Thanks, Cody. We have 2 questions in the chat. Mariana, I'll go ahead and let you read yours.
Thank you. And I think Robert Fernandez was before me, but I'll make this very quick. Michael, I believe OSTP is doing a round of listening sessions open to the public. And I dropped that question in the chat because we shared that with our members and they're trying to seek feedback on and also updates for undergraduate, graduate, and postdocs that they can participate and listen in. Is your department, your office doing these as well? If not, I'm happy to connect in the future to give you kind of just an idea of how many of our teams and members join these listening sessions.
I'd be very happy to hear more information about that engagement. We are very connected with OSTP on the Year of Open Science, especially through the NSTC's Subcommittee on Open Science. So for engagements that are cross-agency and organized by OSTP, we're usually there at the table and a full and active participant, and really do benefit from all the community engagement. I'll note that we're also busy working on a response to the OSTP memo regarding equity of public access to research results, and aim to make sure that we have engagement with the community on our updated public access plan when that becomes available. So certainly we look at the Year of Open Science as the start to an important conversation, and I expect those conversations to continue well beyond this calendar year, and look forward to opportunities to engage. So please do follow up. I'd love to hear more.
Great, thank you, Michael. And Roberto, do you want to go ahead and unmute?
Yes, thanks. Thanks, Michael. Quick question on the fellowships. Are those going to be the 2024 ones for graduate students? Are those going to be a little bit like the NSF GRFPs, only for citizens or people already based in the US, or how is that going to work out?
I believe there are eligibility requirements for the graduate student research program, but it's a program we run every year. I think we just closed the latest call, although the real experts are connected here. If Ping would like to speak to it. And we do have a topic list as well. So I think one important thing is to investigate the opportunity and see if it's a good fit. But if I may, Ping, please do tell us more.
Thank you, Dr. Michael Cook. Add to what Michael already said, to your question about the eligibility of applicant. So our graduate program for workforce training open to all US citizens and the lawful permanent residents of foreign nationals. So that is the eligibility requirement. Yeah.
Okay.
One primary reason for this requirement is because our graduate program are based at the national laboratories. This is a requirement. Yeah. So for our students or awardees to get access to the national lab. Yeah. So.
All right. Thank you. So yeah, clearances and all those things. Yeah. Thanks. Can I ask another question, Cassandra? Do we have time?
We
I can wait
really
for
need
the
to move
breakout
on
sessions.
for the breakout
I can-
sessions.
all right.
Thank you. Yeah, so we did have a couple questions unanswered in the chat, and I really recommend that you go to the breakout sessions. I just want to be really respectful of everyone's time here, and I want you all to get all of this amazing information. So we're going to go ahead and have EPA present. So let me go ahead and spotlight them very quickly. Awesome. You are good to go, Haley.
All right, thanks everybody. Let me just pull up my slides here. Okay, does that look okay?
We're not seeing it in now it's in presentation mode. Awesome.
Okay, great. All right, thanks everybody for having me. My name's Haley Aja. I'm with the Environmental Protection Agency. Just to start off by saying the EPA mission is to protect human health and the environment. And specifically the Office of Research and Development, where I work at, is the scientific research arm of EPA. So ORD conducts leading edge research both internally through our own EPA labs and also externally through research grants to support that EPA mission. So I'm here to talk about a couple research grant programs that you all may be eligible to apply for. So the first program is what we call STAR, the Science to Achieve Results Research Program. And STAR is actually EPA's first competitive and peer-reviewed grant program. And since its inception in 1995.
However, in the case of carbon emission, that reasoning is much less intuitive.
Oh, wait.
Now, if we rely on the
Give me 1
computation,
second. Let me try to mute the
Okay.
income person to the predict.
All right, all good. All right, so like I was saying, STAR has funded more than 2,000 research grants since its inception in 1995. And just last year, we awarded about 40 projects. Our annual budget is usually around $30 million. So that's split up. Our grants are normally between like $500,000 and $1 million each. So the STAR program issues requests for applications or RFAs to solicit research on topics relevant to EPA's mission. And you can see current and upcoming RFAs on the EPA Research Grants website, which I'll share the link to in a minute. So just some eligibility notes on the STAR program. Most relevant to you all is academic institutions, but also nonprofit organizations can apply. Also state and local governments are eligible to apply. Who's not eligible to apply are like profit-making companies or individuals. Just to note, this isn't like a grad student or postdoc fellowship program. These grants are going to the institution. So I just wanted to note that. And also some of our RFAs have language to fund research projects to early career investigators. And the early career definition just means that someone's at the assistant professor or equivalent level and is untenured at the time of the RFA. But they're in a tenure track position as an assistant professor or a position equivalent to assistant professor. So look out for that language in some of our RFAs. It's a good opportunity for people who maybe haven't received EPA grants in the past to get their project seen. I can talk more about the application process in the breakout session if people are interested. I just wanted to note that all of our grants go through grants.gov, and your institution has to be registered in grants.gov before you apply. So if your university isn't one that typically would receive federal research grants, maybe just check in with them about whether or not they're registered in the system before you get ready to apply. And the review process, there's 4 major phases of review for applications before we decide on who's getting funded. The main 2 are the peer review and the relevancy review. Again, I can go into more detail in these if people have questions, but peer review is looking at the technical merit of your application. Does the science really hold up? You know, do the reviewers think that it's a practical or reasonable use of EPA money to fund this science? And then the relevancy review is looking more at how this application fits into EPA's strategic plan, EPA's mission, and what research is kind of already going on within the agency. And just as far as the timeline goes, so once you apply to an RFA, request for application, it's about 6 months for us to make the funding decisions, and then about sometimes close to a full year before you would actually receive the money. So just keep that in mind when you're applying, that you probably won't see the grant money for 9 to 12 months. Oh, and also I forgot to mention our grants are typically for 3 years with an option to extend to 5 years. So I just put a couple examples of topics that we funded recently, just to kind of give you an idea of what kind of RFAs we've been doing recently. I won't dwell on these, but just a couple to point out. The toxicity of chemical mixtures was one we funded recently. Health risks of wildfire exposures, some projects on children's health and cumulative health impacts. So just an example of some recent RFAs. And then these are some upcoming RFA topics. So if you have projects, that would fall under one of these RFA topics, keep an eye out on our website for when these open up. The PFAS in agricultural settings, antimicrobial resistance, some more cumulative impacts. Okay, and then the second program I wanted to talk about is P3, People, Prosperity, and the Planet. So P3 is awards funding to teams of college students, both undergraduate and graduate students, to conduct scientific research. It's a unique competition to design innovative solutions for environmental problems. And it's a cool program that offers students hands-on experience to bring their classroom learning to life. And it really encourages interdisciplinary collaboration across STEM disciplines. So the teams, like I said, the teams are made up of undergrad and grad students led by a faculty investigator. So the lead PI, the faculty member, is the one that applies, but it's the student teams that are, really doing the majority of the hands-on work. And it's a great opportunity for students to gain experience in laboratory work and field work to address environmental issues. Something else about the P3 program is that in the second year of work, the teams are invited to come to a student design expo where all of the P3 teams present their projects and kind of demonstrate the projects they're working on. This year, for example, the expo's is here in DC. So it's a good opportunity for students to network and be able to show off the work they've done in their P3 project. So eligibility, it's similar to STAR. It's it's academic institutions with teams of undergrad and grad students. Teams can be composed, you know, the one faculty leader and students, but it's not intended to just be like one faculty member and one postdoc or something like that. They're really looking for this to be a team effort. And there's also been a recent effort to increase awards to institutions who have not historically received P3 grants. So even if you haven't, you know, never applied for this program in the past, I encourage you to look into it, because we're actively trying to sort of increase our application pool and give out awards to new investigators. I won't go through the application process. It's the same as for STAR, going through grants.gov. The review is the same as well. And the award notices. Okay, and then I just wanted to, I have a couple slides on just sort of proposal writing advice, and I can get into this in more detail in the breakout session. But the main thing to know is to sort of speak to your audience, who is the reviewers. When you're writing your application, keep in mind that the reviewer doesn't know you, doesn't know your work. You can't rely on your reputation necessarily. So be really clear and explicit how your application fits what we're asking for in the RFA. You know, you might think it's redundant to be, you know, spelling out, you know, this is how we meet criteria 1, criteria 2, criteria 3, but the reviewers are often reviewing, you know, multiple applications. So the easier you make it for them, the better. Yeah, so for, and I mentioned the relevancy review earlier, which determines how applications meet EPA's objectives in the strategic plan. So the strategic plan is available online, and I encourage you, if you're applying, to go to read through that and be very clear about how your project fits into it. Don't make the reviewers, you know, make any assumptions. The other thing I wanted to note is the budget. It's not like a low bid contract or something like that, where if the RFA says we're giving out $1 million awards, don't think because you propose something that's 900,000 that gives you a leg up. That's not the case. The reviewers are going to look for whether you can accomplish the work you propose with the budget you propose. So don't think that you need to get more bang for your buck or anything like that. And something else I wanted to let this group know about was that there's opportunities to serve as a peer reviewer for RFAs that you're not applying to. And it's a good opportunity to learn about the process and give you some insight on what the reviewers talk about, so that maybe when you are ready to apply, you kind of know how things work. There's a small stipend for being a peer reviewer, but really it's just good experience if you think you'll apply for an EPA grant in the future. Okay, so I put some contact info up on the slide here. Feel free to reach out to me with questions, and I can sort of put you in touch with who the relevant person might be. There's a couple other emails on here, but if you just reach out to me, I'll put you in touch. Yeah, and hope to talk to you more in the breakout session. Like I said, I can talk more about the review criteria and the application process in that setting. So I think that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Haley. Okay, we do have a couple minutes if someone has a question now. While we do that, we're halfway on presentation. So in the chat, I will be putting a link here. And this is how you can sign up to get invited to any of our faculty development events, whether it's virtual or in person. So I highly recommend that you sign up if you haven't already. Do we have any questions for Haley? Okay. Haley, I think they're going to ask you questions in the breakout room instead then. Okay, so now we have the Office of Naval Research. Let me see here. Kelly, let me go ahead and spotlight you. Kelly, I think you have to turn your camera on so that I can go ahead and spotlight you. Let me try that again. Okay, yep. Awesome. You are good to go, Kelly.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm so pleased to be able to have this opportunity to speak with all of you. I am actually a military deputy within the Office of Naval Research Code 32, which is Ocean Battlespace Sensing. I'm standing in today for Dr. Thomas Drake, who unfortunately couldn't be here. He sends his regrets and wishes he could engage and looks forward to future opportunities. Within Code 32, I focus mainly on oceanographic science, S&T. However, during today's discussion, I'll be presenting all of the codes across O&R. So while I might not be an expert on all of their different programs, I know who to get you in touch with if you do have interest in those disciplines. So I am going to... Okay, is that sharing?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, hopefully.
Is it letting you awesome.
There we go. Sorry.
No problem.
Okay, great. Apologies up front. I'm at home because our government computers don't allow us to use Zoom. So great, got it. Okay. So before I go into the different codes within the Office of Naval Research, I do want to just explain that the Naval Research Enterprise actually incorporates the Office of Naval Research, the Naval Research Laboratories, O&R Global. So we do have offices across the entire globe with scientific expertise to try and coordinate international S&T efforts. Naval X, which is a small business initiative to help, the Navy get proposals done quicker, and also PMR 51, who are they are low observable technologies. So that is the Naval Research Enterprise landscape. The slide I'm sharing with you now is specific to the science and technology departments within the Office of Naval Research. So since the Navy loves numbers, these are all different numbers within O&R. So you'll see, starting from the left, information, cyber, and spectrum superiority is code 31 within O&R. And as it sounds, cyber and spectrum, it's C5 ISR. So within the Navy, that's command, control, communications, computers, and cyber. ISR is intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. So they focus on all things cyber and command and control, decision superiority, essentially. Ocean battlespace sensing, of course, is the environmental from the really space to subseabed, and I'll be speaking more about that in the next slide. Code 33 is naval platforms and weapons, and essentially they focus on undersea weapons and platforms and advanced materials for warfighter advantage. For warfighter performance, because the Navy is comprised of human beings, essentially they look to enhance warfighter effectiveness through bioengineered and biorobotic systems, medical technologies, improved manpower, personnel training, and system design. Code 35, Aviation Force Production and Integrated Defense, they focus on kinetic energy and, kinetic weapons and directed energy. So as I mentioned, I wanted to do a little bit of a deep dive on Ocean Battlespace Sensing Department. So this is Code 32, which Dr. Drake is the department head. So if you see on the left-hand side of the slide, it is our Code 322, the division. And so it's mostly the basic and applied research arm of Ocean Battlespace Sensing. Code 3221 or Division 321 on the right-hand side is more the applications of the science. But within Ocean Battlespace Sensing, you can see we cover all of the disciplines from remote sensing, space to the subsea bed. Many of the unmanned systems the Navy operates have had their origins actually within the Office of Naval Research from both the Remus and the Bluefin vehicles. And those actually rose from the demand of oceanographers needing better sensing techniques within the ocean. We do own 6 research vessels, so there are opportunities for our program officers to coordinate their research on these vessels. And every year there's about 40 to 50 at-sea field experiments. We do have a program officer that manages both these research vessels and then our other efforts within the UNOL system, or the University National Oceanographic Laboratory system of vessels, which includes, I think it's about 49 ships, research vessels. So you can see here, the research ships have a global reach, and it's regularly 2-year expeditions. The science teams rotate depending on who the PIs are. They've been scheduled, as I mentioned, via the UNOL system since 1972. They average about 280 days per year in operation. So Rob Sparrock is our program officer. He's incredibly busy managing and coordinating all of the vessels, but not just with the scientific experiments, but also the upkeep and maintenance of the vessels. It's a really big job, but he does it phenomenally. So the daily operation costs are recovered via day rate charged to agency research. NSF, National Science Foundation, is the major user of the ships, and then Navy, NOAA, USGS, and DOE as well. So crews are university employees and professional mariners. So it's a mix of both. And right now there are 2 operated at Scripps Institute of Oceanography, 2 at Woods Hole, 1 at University of Washington, and 1 at University of Hawaii. So now to talk a little bit about STEM opportunities for students, I did want to cover different opportunities for both high school and undergraduates. And these programs are managed not within the S&T codes at ONR, but actually we do have a STEM office. So if there are any specific questions to these programs, I'm happy to put you in touch with the folks that coordinate this, and or I can go through the website as well during the breakout session. But the opportunities fall under Science and Engineering Apprentice Program, or SEAP, which is an 8-week summer internship for high school students at a Navy laboratory. The NREAP program, which is the Naval Research Enterprise Internship Program, and that's 10 weeks for actual college students at a Navy laboratory as well. I can speak specifically to those 2 programs because I've actually experienced them at my previous command. We were classified as a naval laboratory, and that's the U.S. Naval Observatory. And so we participated in the SEAP and NREAP programs. And again, just a soundbite, would love to have these promoted, throughout any possible venue or opportunity. Seeing the students come through, the observatory and spending that 8 to 10 weeks with us It's great to see our scientists give them a project to work on, and at the end, they're expected to brief out what they learned. And it's really been a great experience for those students, one, to see actual science being performed by the Navy, and two, to be a part of it. So it's a great opportunity. The next down on the list is Science, Mathematics, and Research for Transformation, or SMART. So it's Scholarship for Service program, gives undergraduate, graduate students full scholarship and guarantee of employment upon degree completion. And there's details at that website. And then there's the National Defense Science and Engineering Graduate, or NZEG. This is a fellowship for the graduate students, and it's designed to increase the number of United States citizens trained in science and engineering disciplines of military importance. And the intent is to lead to a doctoral degree. We also have an opportunity called the Young Investigators Program. And I don't have that on the slide, but I do have information for it. And effectively, it seeks to identify and support academic scientists and engineers who are in their first or second full-time tenure track, who've received the doctorate or equivalent degree, and show promise for doing creative research. So essentially you put a proposal forward, and it gets evaluated by the different program officers. And I will mention at the Office of Naval Research, the program officers are the sort of the building block for that basic research. They have, across all of our codes, 31 through 35, approximately $3.5 billion, to which they are deciding, which investigators to fund, which projects are relevant to Navy warfighting advantage. So I can speak more to that in the breakout session as well. So here's covering STEM funding opportunities for universities, industry, and nonprofits. We have the Department of the Navy STEM funding opportunity announcements. So these go out. I think the one just closed in April. So it's once a year. But the intent is to maintain and cultivate a diverse world-class STEM workforce directly relevant to the needs of the Department of the Navy. And this is both current and future workforce. The eligibility criteria there, academia, nonprofit, and industry. White papers are required, and the criteria you can see, of course, scientific and technical merit, naval relevance, program viability, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I will, in the next slide, actually go through, well, not go through, but show the webpage there that ONR has the funding opportunities listed, at least for the both the funding opportunity announcement and then also the broad agency announcements that the program officers can put out. So as I mentioned, this is the Office of Naval Research funding opportunities sort of webpage. I'm happy to go through it during the breakout session, but I did want to pull it up as an example of how you can navigate to the page and then look at all of the different opportunities that are available. Within Code 32, we also have several, I'll just mention, because within all of the codes, the program officers get to determine which efforts they want to fund for STEM. So it's sort of there's a smattering of STEM efforts throughout the Office of Naval Research. But then, of course, the Department of the Navy also has a STEM office. And so I have the points of contact for that as well, in case anyone wants to discuss further. But within Code 32, several years ago in approximately 2017, a good example is Task Force Ocean. And this was started by the then Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Richardson. And Task Force Ocean essentially was to tap into academic knowledge that the Navy was not taking advantage of to give us really undersea warfare superiority. So tapping into the research capabilities and the knowledge to bring it together and provide the advantage to the Navy warfighter in the undersea realm. So there are several initiatives there. There's research initiatives. There's a Scientist to Sea program. And then there's also a scientist symposia. So those are just some quick examples of opportunities that are available. And as I mentioned, happy to talk more about those within the breakout. And I know that was a quick run through of some of the examples of both the STEM and research opportunities, but I'm happy to take questions if anyone has any. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have time for one question. If anyone has one in the chat, or raise your hand. If not, we do have plenty of time in the breakout room. Okay. It doesn't look like we have a question right now. So we will wait until the breakout room. Thank you very much. We have one more. We now have renewable energy. Let me spotlight. And this will be our last presentation before we move into the breakout room. So I really encourage all of you to start thinking which breakout room or rooms you all want to go into. I will be giving the instructions after this. And you do have the ability to stay in one the entire time or visit all four. So please let us know. Kelly, could you please stop sharing your screen? Let me see if I can do that for you. Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, let's get renewable energy up here. Awesome. Thank you, Steve. Steve, you can go ahead and take it away in your last presentation.
Sounds good. Can y'all hear me by any chance?
Yep.
Awesome. Can y'all see my slides as well?
Yep.
Awesome. So, hi everybody, my name is Steve Granda. It's good seeing some familiar faces on the call. I was like, oh wow, I've seen a lot of good Midwest folks worked in the past with. Anywho, I'm a cybersecurity researcher here at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. I've been here at NREL for, I'd say, a little bit over 3.5 years now. It's kind of flown by with COVID and all that. Prior to this, I was at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign for about 14 years, working as a student, staff, researcher, all that fun stuff, and I finally made the pivot over to the National Lab System. So here at NREL, our primary focus is essentially working to advance science, engineering, energy efficiency, sustainability and transportation, renewable energy, and overall just provide knowledge for integrating, optimizing these energy systems. The face of science is kind of changing, and the different issues that are happening with climate change or and whatnot. These kind of technologies and different industries we need to start researching a bit more, and it's kind of core to NREL's mission as well. So kind of this was covered a little bit earlier in one of the slides for DOE. NREL is one of the 17 federally funded research centers for the Department of Energy. Our main campus is located over in Golden, Colorado, with our South Table Mountain facility. But we have offices kind of somewhat throughout the country and different research sites as well. Together we all kind of work together, all these different laboratories and various aspects of energy. And NREL is especially focused on research in renewable energy and energy efficiency. There's definitely really good things that we're working on. These days with being more efficient. Earlier I mentioned, we have these different facilities. Our main one is in Golden, Colorado, which you all see kind of in the center and kind of in my background picture right there for our energy systems integration facility. So South Table Mountain located over in Golden, Colorado. We have our Flatirons campus located in Boulder, Colorado, about half an hour north. That's kind of where we pair with the National Wind Technology Center. We have another office over in Fairbanks, Alaska, where we do cold climate research. So, the effects of permafrost and some of the changes with the environment, causing issues up there. We also have, offices with other national laboratories out in DC as well as a bunch of remote workers across the country. NREL is starting to transition to a lot of remote workers. It's kind of interesting seeing how that works with science in our different laboratories. Together, these laboratories, they form kind of living laboratories, focusing on solar, transportation, wind, water, materials, renewable energy, energy analysis, and what have you. We walk the walk, we talk the talk. Our researchers come in. We all have do studies on our researchers, vehicles as they come in, using our chargeable grids. Our supercomputers work pretty well on renewable energy as well. So we're pretty integrated in kind of these living laboratories, especially in Boulder, Colorado, when we lost power at one point and we were able to microgrid. So kind of some pictures here of NREL. The upper left-hand corner, we have, I would say, our Flatirons campus, where we do more wind research. In the upper right-hand corner is one of the ESIF Energy Systems Integration Facility laboratories, where we do anything from energy research, power modeling, kind of seeing how some of these integrations with industry work together. And then on our left, kind of some of our bottom left, some of our cyber research as well. So kind of NREL at a glance. So the laboratory's research and development focuses on secure and domestic energy with economic viability. Today, NREL's groundbreaking advanced energy research and development spans kind of like from foundational science to research, development to discovery and invention of methods to components and energy delivery systems. Our workforce is definitely much higher than that. I think those are older numbers from around 2021. We have over 900 partnerships with different partners from industry, academia, government, and what have you. And then earlier, as I mentioned, a lot of the partnerships we have with these different vendors or utilities or other entities, they all operate within our campus as we kind of deploy some of these technologies out. So, NREL drives science innovation. Some of our more energy kind of our focuses are renewable power. So, including solar, wind, water, geothermal energy. Again, we're looking a lot at sustainable transportation, bioenergy, vehicle, hydrogen technologies. We have a lot of really cool hydrogen setup out kind of in the back of the picture right here by our energy systems integration facility. Our energy efficiency includes building technologies, advanced manufacturing research, energy management programs. Definitely, I look at a lot of cybersecurity aspects of hacking buildings and what causes issues or what we should be looking at in the future. And our energy systems integrations applies hardware in the loop, kind of like simulation, performance computing, data visualization capabilities, kind of to assess, modernizing the grid, as some of the programs I'll talk about a little bit later on. And ways to minimize disruptions to grid services from natural disasters or human attacks. It's kind of interesting because we recently just had our supercomputer called Kestrel deployed to do a little bit more modeling and simulation for our researchers on site. So NREL has kind of all these facilities, all these different partnerships, ways for you all to get involved in NREL, be it your undergrads, your graduate students, postdocs, even faculty as well. Definitely say we have a lot of internships going along. Recently, we just kicked off a lot of our intern programs through our STAR program, which is student training and applied research. We have some students come in through SULI, some GEM fellowships. We definitely have a lot of summer and year-round internships, especially for graduate students. I will definitely say NREL is one of the more open laboratories for foreign national. I know there's occasionally some concerns, it's like, hey, I was born outside the country and what have you. NREL is definitely a big supporter of research from a lot of foreign national students. Postdoctoral researchers, and we also have a lot of different competitions. Recently, we wrapped up our kind of our solar decathlon, which was kind of cool, seeing different students from other countries kind of working together to solve some of the renewable energy issues that we're having and making viable kind of products. Collegiate wind competitions, kind of working in partnership with the National Wind Technology Center, and some of the American Made Challenges. Recently, I was working with some vendors, essentially, where they participated in some of our incubation programs, where we're evaluating their technologies. How viable are they in being deployed out in the field, and especially out in research and development at universities or academia. If you have other, I would say, products that are coming out to market, definitely happy to work with y'all, especially with some of our Glow Park initiatives, where we're kind of doing an accelerator, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. One of the newer kind of programs I was talking about earlier was the research opportunities kind of through STAR, where we partner undergraduates with faculty members at the university, and we work together kind of in a 10-week program where essentially we look at different research that the students are doing, like what are they interested in? Let's pair them with an NREL mentor. And at the same time, once that student is done within their 10 weeks on campus, we'll work with the faculty member at the university. Let's say they're in a part of a research group to, get the student into graduate school, or also work with the research group of that faculty member as well. It's kind of to foster, future generation of industry leaders and sustained research engagement. The face of research is changing, I would say, and getting kind of these pipelines and pathways going is essential for both the mentor, at the university, and the student as well, and get them into grad school. So earlier I was talking about kind of some of the incubation programs that we have. So we have Glow Park, which is kind of kicking off with the state of Colorado, trying to get different vendors out there to assess technologies, renewable technologies out to market. And we have a lot of different vehicles, I would say, to get to that. We work a lot with ICOR, the Canadian Technology Accelerator, the American Made Challenges, which has just got done doing some cybersecurity evaluations for another product. And just in general, fostering these new technologies for incubation, we're planning on having more on-site, I would say, deployments with the Glow Park initiatives. And on top of that, we have vast networks. We work a lot with investor advisory boards, different 60, I would say more than like industry partners, more than 30 members on 4 industry boards, a lot of universities, other accelerator programs, and even researchers at NREL. We can definitely get you some subject matter experts to work with to get your technologies out and work together. If you have a product or something, or any kind of research that you're thinking of taking to market. Earlier I was talking about the American Made Challenges. That was a pretty interesting initiative as well, where essentially we're taking products, made for various, national entrepreneurs that are looking to strengthen, some of the renewable energy inside with domestic manufacturing or energy innovation. So definitely some programs for y'all to check out. And on top of that, we also do a lot of outreach. So one of the programs that we essentially work with that I've been a part of is the USAID program as well. So we provide kind of partnership outside to other and guidance to other, let's say, energy sectors or areas outside of the country. We look at, potentially the LA 100 project, where we look at 100% renewable energy studies, where we look at the Puerto Rico 100 as well, like looking at, transitioning Puerto Rico to 100% renewable energy. Like, what does that take? How do we provide that outreach? So a lot of the work that NREL does is not only research, but advancing the science for other, areas outside the country, or even, providing back to getting to where we need to go as the to address climate change and other issues as well. Within NREL itself, there we go. Within NREL itself, we have a pretty strong, diverse network. I'm one of the co-chairs for the Hispanic Latinx Alliance. We've had over 100+ members across the laboratory. We're trying to provide some more diversity, and a lot of SHPE members as well within NREL. And provide a resource for our community of researchers, scientists, what have you, at the laboratory. Try to get a little more diversity kind of in the lab system and going through. But if anybody has any questions in general, please feel free to shoot out a question, or I'll be in the break.